Hey guys, Ryan Lill here. Just kind of doing some video responses for the no homo and words that are offensive to people. Growing up in the younger generation of, life, I suppose, right now, currently. One day I will not be that younger generation, which is very sad to me. But anyways, growing up where I have, you hear a lot of things in high school and a lot of things on the street and, out in public, and I don't personally take offense to things like that. Probably because I feel like there are so many other giant problems in the world that we could be solving instead of worrying about words, But when it does come to that, you have to remember that your opinions aren't the same as everyone else's. Just because you're not offended by something doesn't mean that somebody else isn't, So, or is offended by it, because I could say that I'm not personally offended when someone says, that's gay out in public. Because, if you hear someone at the store and they're like, oh, that's so gay, I don't go, they said gay. Oh my God, they're totally talking about me right now. I don't take it like that because I realize, myself, that I do the same things with other words because they're so embedded in my head that instead of being intelligent and just using actual words and saying, oh, that's so stupid, I just replace it because, one, people find it funny. Two, it's common, you hear it all the time, so it just happens. It's accidentally, in your brain. So I don't take things like that offensive, but I can say that I understand that there are some people, if you have a teenager who has not come out yet and he hears that word automatically in their head, since it's rubbing them raw, because they feel that but they haven't said it, or just things like that. You never know what's really going to offend somebody. My mom has always told me that if someone's ever nasty to you, never respond back with anger or, criticism or anything, because you never know what that person's been through that day or in their life. Their parents could have just died that morning, So you never know if they're actually being angry with you or they're just that kind of person. So I tend to just let it go. I use what I get from people to write music or to, make videos like this. As for no homo, it's gonna sound stupid, but me and I've got a really good friend named Lauren. She's my best friend of all time, and we say no homo. And we are gay, both of us are gay. But we do it because, we think it's so funny. It's kind of like my friend Scott said, he's Aggie PM, if you want to watch his video, AGGIEPM. And it's so stupid that, it really cannot be taken offensively, to myself personally. There have been times when we all go out to dinner, and I've got tons of straight friends, and they all love me. They've all never said anything nasty. They're always how are you doing in, the love front? Any men, that you've been seeing? I'm obviously there aren't any men that I've been seeing currently, but, thank you for asking. They're very open about everything, So I find it difficult to be offended by that, because we'll be out in public, and I have a really good friend, actually, and he's always just your hair is looking really good today. He's no homo or anything. But, he does it in a really joking way. He's not no homo, but I like your hair. People aren't like that, normally. If there's somebody out in public with a sign that says, no homo, that's a little different because they're using it in, a contextual meaning that, they're being negative towards, homosexuals. I don't know. It just feels like I wouldn't be really, that offended by people who say things like that, because normally it's something that's so, like I said, embedded in them. They just say it just to say it, for, a laugh or things. Granted, that is at your expense. It is. So I can understand why that's offensive. But we need to stop focusing so much on, little tiny petty things that people are saying, because, one, half of them aren't trying to be offensive. They, like I said, they're just not thinking when they say it. When I'm out in public, I have a huge problem with saying the F word. I'm not gonna lie. The F word and me are be effing friends. We are best effing friends. And I will replace it with anything. Me and my sister both. We're being funny, obviously. We don't go out and we're we're not you, But we will replace it. I'll be oh, what the, and I'll be oh, that is so beep, 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 beep. Just to do it. Which I've had so many people tell me, it makes you sound really ignorant when you do it. And I'm they're right, it does. But I think it's so funny, and I just do it just to do it, when I go out in public and I'm in a restaurant or something, obviously I'm not using that language. When I'm doing videos like this, I'm not using that language. When I go out to play shows, I don't usually use that language unless someone really makes me mad, then I will. But I never do things like that in an offensive way, but I can understand why people are offended by it, which is why I can understand the opposite view of people who are offended when someone says that's so gay or no homo. No homo for me and my friends is kind of actually just this joke, because I'll be like, oh, no hetero, but, you know, I like your shirt, girl. And they'll start laughing. They'll be like, well, no homo, but I love your shirt, you know? So it's like, we do it to joke about it. And I think that people really do. I know that I personally, like, have a problem with if somebody says something, I will make a joke out of it, just because, like, you know, the way for me not to be offended and the way for me to move on and, like, cope with things is to make them a joke to me. Because when I see something as a joke, like, if you're scared of something and it becomes a joke to you, boom, your fear is gone. Like, I have to make jokes when I go on stage. I have to make jokes when I'm playing in front of people, you know, like, so I understand that can be offensive, but at the same time, like, you've gotta get over things like that. Like, you live in a place where not everyone agrees with it, but you have the right to love whoever you want to love. You have the right to love, you know? And it just baffles me that we're fighting over these petty words that really, honestly, shouldn't be hurting you at all. They just really shouldn't. Like, I mean, like, I can say this. I know when you're young, you don't think like that, and you think everything's offensive, blah, blah, but when it comes to life, there are so many other things to be focused on than what somebody's saying about you. If you are offended by somebody saying, that's so gay, you might as well go ahead and prepare yourself for a really bumpy life, because while there's 1,000 people saying that's so gay just because it's programmed in their brain to say it and they're not being offensive, there are going to be at least 10 people per person of that 1,000 that are saying it to be like, you are gay, you know? Like, there are going to be people who hate on you no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter who you are. They're going to hate on you. You got to get over it, or your life is going to be one, you know, misfortune at a time. It honestly is. Life is too rough and too short already to be offended by that. We've got people starving in different countries. We've got people who can't even say that they're gay out loud in different countries, or they're killed, or they're, you know, shunned by their family. You get people in America who are shunned by their family when they come out and say they're gay. Let's focus on things like that. Things that need help. Things that need to be... People need to be educated on good material, you know? Once education starts and people's brains start flowing and realize that, you know, normal these days is being different. You know, like, there is no norm anymore. There's no social status anymore when it comes to being normal, or your race, or your religion, or your gender, or your orientation. There just isn't. We are one, you know? And so people need to stop focusing on such small and petty things and fight for what you really need to get solved. You're not going to be on this earth that long. None of us are. We are here for a short amount of time. It's what you leave behind and what you've done that really matters. If you change one person's mind, if you help one person make their life something beautiful, then you've won. You know, you've done your job here. We are to leave this place better than we came into it, you know, and we are. So words are always going to be there. Words are never going to go anywhere. We've got to make that happen. We've got to make bigger things happen. Eventually people start educating themselves, saying, that's kind of offensive, you know? Then people will start thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that in public. But to just call it out and call somebody, like, being offensive or, you know, being homophobic because they say it, that's false. I mean, I could say no hetero, joking with my friends, and I love straight people. It's like I've said in all my other videos, you cannot fight fire with fire. You cannot do it. Like, I personally get offended when I see, like, other gay people say, oh, we've got one for our team, you know, we've got another gay guy for our team. We're not a team. Everyone in the world's supposed to be a team. That's the point. We are supposed to be one giant team. So, again, these are all my personal opinions, so don't take them and run with them and say, Ryan Lill thinks that gay people are a team! Oh my god, we're such a team! Yes, we're a team, but we aren't the team, you know, the world is the team. So, that's my opinion on words. I think that words hurt a lot less than physicalities and things like people not being able... I am more offended that there is somebody living in a different country who can't even say how they feel because their family and their friends and their, you know, the culture they live in will banish them. That is more offensive to me than someone walking on the street and saying, oh my god, look, a Miranda Cosgrove CD. That's so gay. First of all, I love Miranda Cosgrove, you know?